And now at 6:30, it's a story hauntingly similar to George Floyd's, but this one happened right here in Southern California. Welcome back to KCAL News at 6. I'm Leslie Marin.
And I'm Gio Insignares. Nearly 4 years ago, Jonathan Jung died after a confrontation with security guards at a local casino. To this day, his family says no one has been held accountable for his death. And tonight, KCAL's Rachel Kim brings us their fight for justice and the renewed hope they now have to get his case prosecuted.
What do we want? Justice!
We had another George Floyd-like incident. But this time not involving a black male, but a Korean-American male.
Attorney Terrence Jones says, unlike the nationwide protests sparked by the murder of George Floyd, one summer later, there was a noticeable silence after the death of Jonathan Jung, a then 45-year-old man from Monterey Park. Jones says Jung was killed as a result of excessive force used by security guards at the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens on July 24th, 2021.
I was sickened, I was saddened, and I knew that the world needed to see this.
This is the security camera video Jones and his legal team obtained from the casino after Jung's family filed a negligence and wrongful death lawsuit against them. Jones says Jung, who was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, experienced a mental health episode while inside the casino, so he was asked to leave. According to the civil suit, Jung left voluntarily, so there was no reason he should have been followed out to the parking lot by the 5-man security personnel. The lawsuit states, because Jung was in the middle of a mental health episode, he was terrified he was being pursued, and that's why he tried to get into someone's car nearby to escape. When that failed, he ran into an enclosed area. The claim states Jung then began to run, but tripped and fell to the ground.
Not only did these security guards restrain Jonathan in a face-down position, they then put him in a hog-tie position, like an animal, after Jonathan was compliant. No kicking, no thrashing, no nothing. Completely still. A knee goes on his back. They turned Jonathan over after those 2 minutes with the knee in his back. He was gone.
You're now watching a body cam video from the Bell Gardens Police Department. Jones tells us officers got to the scene after the casino staff called for assistance, but Jung was dead before the officers arrived. This is part of a discussion between two Bell Gardens police officers.
You think it was worth it for these two? Why didn't you just say, bro, there's the exit, just go out that way. We'll help you out.
The LA County medical examiner determined Jung's cause of death was methamphetamine toxicity and ruled it an accident from drug intake. The autopsy report lists the injuries found on Jung, but the medical examiner wrote no fatal trauma identified. He concluded by saying there is no clear indication that the interaction with the security personnel contributed to death beyond physical exertion, which had already began before direct contact with security personnel. And from the review of the video, it does not appear that the security personnel applied pressure to Mr. Jung's back, torso, while he was on the ground. 82-year-old Joshua Jung is Jonathan's father. He's speaking out because he says he wants justice for his son. The Jung family retained an independent toxicologist, a pulmonologist, and a forensic pathologist to conduct their own tests. They all concluded meth was present in Jung's system, but the cause of his death was positional asphyxia.
The cause, quite simply, was he suffocated to death, and he just simply could not breathe.
LA County Sheriff's Department homicide detectives interviewed the security guards and watched the video the evening of the incident. But Jones says the detectives did not provide the coroner with information that a guard had confirmed he had a knee pressed into Jung's back.
Because the coroner had not received any other evidence about the manner in which the guards had restrained him, he had to conclude what he called that this was a negative autopsy, meaning by process of elimination, it must be the meth. And we, of course, disputed that.
Jones and his team says it tried to get the district attorney's office to investigate and file charges.
What has the response been?
The response has been, we'll take a look.
And?
We'll take a look.
We reached out to then District Attorney George Gascon for an interview about this case. A spokesperson for his office told us the DA is unavailable for this interview. When we asked them for a statement on why they chose not to charge 4 of the security guards, they sent us their charge evaluation worksheet. It says in part, at no point did any of the above security officers stomp, strike, or use body weight to hold defendant down. Within 3 minutes of falling to the ground, decedent began to vomit and was placed on his side. Decedent stopped breathing approximately 4 minutes after he began to vomit. The charge evaluation worksheet also cites the medical examiner's finding that Jung's death was ruled accidental and caused by methamphetamine toxicity. Prosecutors said none of the officer's conduct contributed to the decedent's death since he did not see any pressure being applied to decedent's back or torso. Based on the above, there is no evidence of any crime and filing is rejected. Jones said because they were not getting any traction from the DA's office, he and his legal team pursued a civil suit on behalf of Jung's family.
What we would like to see is that the casino be held accountable for its behavior in hiring these people in the first place and failing to train them. And then we want to see the guards themselves held accountable.
The Jung family's attorneys say things took a turn for the worse for them here at trial when the judge unexpectedly reversed an earlier ruling which barred any discussion of Jung's past drug use. The only evidence that was supposed to be allowed was whether drugs were in Jung's body when he died and how they played a role in his death. The attorneys believe Jung was portrayed as a drug addict, and the evidence swayed the jury's verdict.
The sheriff's department detective who came to testify, who, despite the court's order to the contrary, testified that there was drug paraphernalia in Jonathan's car and suggested, without any proof, that he may have been smoking something in his car prior to coming into the casino. And yet, the jury was allowed to hear those arguments, not based upon fact, just based upon speculation, and we think that was unfair.
The jury found that the casino guards were negligent, but determined their negligence was not a substantial factor in causing Jung's death.
Describe what it's like to hear those words.
It was crushing. It was crushing.
Mr. Jung says he was very shocked. After what happened in court, he lost all hope in this world.
It was really, really dishonorable. Really dishonorable. The way he died, that's murder in my eyes.
Esther Lim was a member of then District Attorney Gascon's first AAPI advisory board. It was created at a time when hate crimes against Asians skyrocketed. One of the group's goals is to advise the DA's office on ways to better serve AAPI communities by building trust and a more equitable justice system. The advisory board watched the trial closely.
I was shocked because what I saw in video and what I heard about the family was very unjust.
Lim wants to see the casino and security guards held accountable for Jung's death and the case criminally prosecuted.
My reaction is just disappointment, quite honestly.
Meanwhile, Joshua Jung and his wife are living at a Christian retreat center in Lancaster, holding on to hope and each other, depending on their faith as they wait for justice.
I think justice for the Jung family is actually having it played out in court the way it should be.
We reached out to Park West Bicycle Casino, the current owner of the bicycle casino, for comment on the jury's verdict. Their attorney sent us a statement that said Park West purchased the casino nearly 9 months after Jung's death, and as part of the acquisition, Park West did not assume any liabilities or responsibilities of the previous ownership. He went on to say, "We have conveyed this to the plaintiff's counsel multiple times, but they have chosen not to acknowledge these undisputed facts. While we empathize with Mr. Jung's family, Park West bears no responsibility in this matter."
Far too often involving people of color in circumstances where the police officers, were charged. And then, just like the George Floyds and the litany of other people, a knee. Is it any different?
Jones and his team filed a motion for a new trial because they believe what happened at the first trial was illegal. The court denied the request, but Jones says they've appealed. They hope newly elected District Attorney Nathan Hochman and his office will reopen the investigation into Jung's case.
It doesn't impact in any way the DA's own discretion to scrutinize it, to appreciate the facts of this case, to understand what was investigated and what was not, what should have been. So we are still pursuing that, and we hope we can get the DA's office to listen.
We also reached out to the casino's CEO at the time of Jung's death for comment, as well as the current CEO and owner who owned a share of the casino at the time. We have yet to hear back from them.